Hey, Alan here for Old English Outfitters. Today we are taking a look at a 92X Performance pistol by Beretta. Now, we've looked at guns like this before. We looked at the Walther Q4. We looked at the SIG 320 X5 Legion. This is in the same category. It's a heavy gun, purpose-built for that weight because they want it to be accurate and they want it to be stable and soft shooting. Guns like this are used for competition shooting, whether it's a 3-gun match or just a pistol competition. So they're built to be smooth and accurate, and this one is right in that category. Beretta, of course, is the oldest firearms manufacturer on the planet. Nobody else around has built guns longer than them. And this is based on their 92 series. Now, the 92 series, if you remember, was the pistol that our military adopted back in 1980 and is still in service in a few places until they get their conversions done to the new SIG gun. The Beretta M9 is fundamentally a 92, and that's what this is, the 92 series. This gun, very soft shooting, very accurate, just like it's built to be. This one is all stainless steel, so it's good and heavy. The normal M9s have an alloy frame. Some of the other 92 series guns have alloy frames. This one's all stainless steel, frame, slide, everything. So really, really heavy gun, which is good because it makes it soft shooting, keeps the recoil down. As you know, the heavier the gun is, the less it recoils. The features on this are overbuilt, and everything's enlarged, so it's very easy to operate. So from the back here on the top, actually, we have a fully adjustable rear sight, and we got a fiber optic front. Fiber optic fronts are really nice. Like us this morning, we're out in daylight shooting this. Really picks up, really easy to see. The light hits the top of it, flows right through it. You can pick it up in a second. Just really easy to see. Front and rear cocking serrations. This one's empty and safe. I'm going to close the slide on it here. We have a rail up front, so if you wanted to put a light laser or something up there, would this be a decent home defense gun? Yeah, sure. Could you carry it concealed? Yeah, you could, but it's going to be pretty heavy. You probably wouldn't want to do that. Not really built for that purpose. The grips are the grip angle actually on this is somewhat straighter than a normal 92 series pistol. They tend to have a little hump on the back. If you like that hump, you got a different set of grips that come with it that provide that. You do have front and rear cocking serrations. There's very light checkering on the grip panels. It sits in your hand really nice. The magazine well is flared, which makes loading really easy. It comes with 2 15-round magazines with a slightly extended base plate, so they'll go in there nice and easy. And you're not gonna. If you've never pinched yourself loading a flush-fitting magazine, then you wouldn't really appreciate this. But if you have, you appreciate that longer base plate. It prevents your hand from getting pinched when the magazine sits. Speaking of the magazine release is larger than normal, and it's also pushed out a little bit. It's extended some. They even extended the takedown, the little shelf on the takedown lever. You wouldn't really probably be in a hurry to take this down, but it's extended, makes it easier to do. One thing that's different from the normal 92 series is the safety. Now, the normal 92s, if you're familiar with them, have a safety decocker or just a decocker that's up here on the slide. This one is a frame-mounted lever. It's ambidextrous, set up on both sides, works really well for your shooting hand thumb from either hand. When you push it up, covers the red, that's on safe. Push it down, that's off safe. It does not decock the pistol. It is not a decocker. Part of their thinking here is if you're shooting competition and you want that short, light, single-action trigger, and this one has a really nice single-action trigger, then you're going to want a thumb safety. That way you can just flip the thumb safety off and you're in business, okay? Can you still shoot a double action? Yep, you can. What you want to do is get a hold of the hammer, pull the trigger, release the hammer, and then let it come off the trigger and let the hammer go down to that position, and you're ready for a double action trigger. Speaking of the double action trigger, it is very smooth. Now, I've shot a few Beretta 92s, M9 series pistols. They tend to be very smooth. And the longer you shoot them, the smoother they get. This one's really smooth right from the get-go. It's just very smooth stroke. It's still long. It's still long. If you're familiar with Berettas, you know you got a long double action trigger stroke there. Well, it's still long, but it is extremely smooth. So it jumps right through that stroke pretty easily. The single action trigger stops. You got a little take up and it stops right there. And when it stops, it breaks. No over travel. So really good trigger system on this. The front sight is dovetailed. So on the M9s and some of the 92 series, it's a fixed sight up here on the front part of this slide. This one's dovetailed. So if you wanted to replace it with something else, you could. For the purpose this gun's built for, that fiber optic, kind of hard to beat. As long as you've got light or you can see it, it's kind of hard to beat. Standard 92 setup as far as frame construction and slide construction. This has the enhanced reinforced slide piece through here. If you look at it, it's really thick. It's humped here a little bit. That's just reinforced, gives a little extra strength to it. The barrel on these is always exposed up here. You hear different things. Some people like it, some people don't, just like some people like sushi and some people don't, right? A lot of it has to do with your own personal opinion. Because there's no slide up here to catch things, these tend to be extremely reliable. If you're having a problem with them, it's either probably you or the ammunition you're using. These things tend to work really, really well. A point about that decocking part of this. If you're going from the DA trigger, because a unique feature about the Beretta series, the 92 series, is you can actually see the slide safety or the firing pin safety. You can actually see it. So when you pull the trigger, see that, if you can see that piece that comes up right there, that when it's in the up position clears that firing pin. So now when the hammer goes down, notice it stays up, the gun will fire, okay? So if you're taking this to a double action trigger, when you pull the trigger to release the hammer, you want to come off that so that piece comes back down. That way the firing pin is locked. It still shouldn't do anything because there's a half cock notch, little safety cock notch right there that should catch it before it comes all the way down. But if for some reason that didn't work, it's not going to fire because the firing pin's locked. Unique feature of the Berettas. You can actually see that. Good shooter. Very accurate, very comfortable to shoot. Something heavy like this is not going to recoil very much. A couple things I noticed about it. A lot of guns like this have an extended beaver tail back here. And they have that because that way it protects your hand from the hammer and all that. But something that's kind of different about this, a lot of times beaver tails, especially on 1911 type pistols, curve up. This one actually curves down just a little bit. Not really a big deal, just noticed it. The other thing I noticed was the slide release. The slide release is not huge. It's right there. But where it's positioned, it's not that easy to get to. I'm right-handed. It's not that easy to get to with my right-handed position thumb because the safety's right there in the way. So the way I tripped it was using my support hand to reach up with that thumb and trip it. And I did use that little shelf right there that's on the takedown lever. I just kind of braced my thumb on that. You can't push it down unless you push from the other side. So that kind of made a handy spot for my support hand thumb. Good gun. We like it. Very upscale. Very upscale. You get a lot of stuff with this, right? You get the 2 magazines, the 250 rounders. You get a magazine loader. Lots of folks are doing this these days. We talked about the extra grip you get. You even get a heck of a case. Look at this case. This is a really, really solid case, and it's got a lock built into the case, little tumbler lock, so you can set the combination on it. So the whole thing's pretty upscale. Priced like an upscale gun, right? We're somewhere in that $1,400, $1,500 range. These things aren't super common. If you're buying it, you're not buying it most likely to conceal. You're not buying it most likely for home defense. Probably you're buying it because you want to shoot competition. You need something that's accurate, reliable, and soft shooting. There you go. That one, like the other pistols we made or we mentioned, are in that category, and they work really well for that purpose. Okay, well, we had a lot of fun shooting it. If you're interested, contact us for price and availability, and if you can get one, you might enjoy it. especially if you like Beretta series guns. Okay, well, that's all we have for right now. Thanks for watching. I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters.